Hey adventurers, welcome to the crew. I'm Sea Lord Janda, and this is my Let's Play of Pillars of Eternity. In the last episode, we dealt with the threat to Cadnua, dealt with a bunch of bounties, the challenger for our position, I mean. Dealt with a bunch of bounties, talked to Grieving Mother quite a bit, and we're now going to continue in that vein of resolving all of our side quests. Speaking of which, we should really rest while we're here. As long as it's free. I forget if I actually have a lot of, someone of the Shackler
Your
actually
thoughts
here.
must flow deep. It's beautiful.
But I checked for him inside the hall and didn't see him.
I'd be glad to.
Yeah, there's no such person actually here. Well, anyway, we're gonna go ahead and continue and resolve some of our other side quests. So I'm not anticipating a whole lot of combat in the... Well, actually bounties, but, yeah, we'll see how that goes.
I must say, I'm impressed.
Before we go any further, I do want to... I forget which button it is when I'm in here. Here it is. I would like to get... temporarily... Oops, not her. These two into the party, because we really need to talk to Durance and Hiravias. And level them up, but... that's beside the point. Let's see here. This is just a choice, I think. Which damage type he should do while wild shaped. Or spirit shifted, that is. Legally distinct. Say shock, just to give something a little different. He has a bunch of levels that we've not given him. Yeah, okay. Mastery, let's see. Corrosion damage. Freeze damage. That's a lot of corrode damage over time. That's nice. I do enjoy AoE fire damage. Paralyzing, but only on beasts. Actually, let's grab that. That could be nice. I don't know why I care that much. The odds that I actually use him are pretty low, but maybe once we'll try. Let's see this repeatedly. Stuns and shocks an enemy for 37 seconds. That's potentially pretty good. Well, that's a good heal. You should grab that, honestly. We don't have a lot of healers. I mean, these two would theoretically be the party's healers, but I never use them, so... Let's see here, what do these do? More accurate interdiction, weakens the target. More effective with sword or arquebus. No, not that. So let's just say this. This is... Well, this is actually pretty good considering the AoE it uses. Okay. Not exactly being super careful about this, just, it's actually not that good. That's a bit better. Okay. Anyway.
I'm here.
What?
We really need to have a chat with
What
Durance,
is
I
it,
believe.
Watcher?
He wasn't really there for it, but we did talk to Wodaka. Or, well, no, we talked to some of her supporters, I think, but we learned some stuff. Let me rephrase. We talked to all the other gods, and they all condemned Wodaka pretty heavily. And he's a priest, so does what we learned about Wodaka trouble you?
It stinks of her. It is justice, but if her greater purpose was to think Margaret would fall prey to such deceit. And Aethys. Widewind had always claimed to be invading Deerwood to free it. What if it were true? What if he had come to stop Wodaka's plot before it began?
Actually, I didn't consider that theory. Still doesn't really
Surely
justify it.
Aethys earned his death at Godhammer Citadel, but not for those reasons. Not to keep him silent. If such a thing has brought about this chaos...
That's an interesting take, actually, Durance. Durance tilts his head as if listening to an inner voice. Then he frowns, the frown deepening as he speaks.
Must we always be tools of gods? If Wodaka and Margaret, if they are the cause of this, the Hollowborn, if the purges were never necessary, if Aethys was fighting back...
You know, Aethys did need to be stopped, and so does Wodaka now.
We started saving the Aethasians from themselves, burning any that didn't die with their god.
Oops.
Heresy in Raed Ceres is one thing. Heresy here in the Deerwood comes with a more personal touch.
I think I pressed 3 and asked about the purchase by accident instead. Yeah, that's, So why did we purge
As
everyone?
I see it, every Aethasian who still lives in the Deerwood puts the nation at risk, is another dagger held to the throat of our faith. Root them out, burn them, or send them back to Raed Ceres to wallow in the blood of their failure.
Ah, not really a very cool opinion, actually, Durance. Ader is one of those, and he's pretty chill, so... Let me ask about the region and its history. These are not really relevant questions, honestly.
Wasn't a war. It was a god stepping past himself. The country of Raed Ceres and all their heathens. They're paying for it now. Although by my count, the fire should have roared through their country with more force, catching all their souls. Truth, it wasn't even a war. It was a cautionary tale about pride. Specifically, Widewind's pride. He should have stayed a farmer.
Yeah, probably. It was, what, 15, 16 years ago? 2807. Durance pauses, then shakes his head and shrugs. My memories are back with the younger me. I don't hold on to dates, I hold on to actions and causes. The war was an act of arrogance, born straight from Raed Ceres' twitching legs. A man thinking himself more than a man. Durance snorts. Want to kill someone? Tell him a god speaks through him. Then tell him he means him to lead, which puts him at the front of any army. And the army was as strong as you'd expect for Raed Ceres, as sick as that country was to begin with. Yet a war was likely just what they needed. What's wrong with them? Raed Ceres has its share of troubles. It deserves all of them. It deserved Widewind. He was the light that led them to flame. Raid Saris was in decline. Aether poison already eating its veins. Economic bleeding, the dying of their faith, Durance frowns. Then wait when this farmer claims to take up Eothas in the flesh and gives them the worst kind of hope. Go on. They crown him. Durance taps his head, making a slight bow. When his face turns back to you, he's wearing a feral smile. They make him king, the worst kind of blasphemy. And once he wears the crown on his head and the god in his flesh, why, he starts making changes. Divine changes. Durance's eyes blaze. Then he decides he's gonna change us. Save us. Now, he marches on the Deerwood to free us. To free us from our beliefs like he freed the other souls in Raid Saris. Cold Morn offers up its belly with no resistance, and it's spared. Durance snarls. The bloodshed starts when he sacks Mercy Vale. The touch of irony, that. Puts it to the flame. Cold Morn? Durance spits, snarls. Cowards! Cold Morn is an apt name for them. They lay still, frozen, while their fellows burn. They'll pay Magran's price one day for such cowardice. What did Eothas do next? Eothas kept marching. Deerwood takes to the trees, cutting at his flanks, his scouts, his troops. It seemed near hopeless. Durance's face becomes grim, then smiles slightly. Until Helgot's citadel, the Godhammer. There we put him to the flame. Burned the god out of him if there was ever one to begin with. Dozen brave men and women take to the bridge, make a stand, then we torched him there with the fire of the Godhammer. Okay. Something else.
I suspect the answers will seed more questions. It
Really,
stinks.
we got distracted here.
Surely, must we always be tools of gods? If Woodica and Margaret,
Okay, Eothas needed to be
they helped,
stopped.
I know
So does
it
Woodcock.
had to be done.
Hey, Fox King. Would it have been better if you'd been spared this knowledge, Durance?
No, I am glad to have walked this far with you, seen this truth. Perhaps it was what I was meant to see, with a watcher's eyes. All these dances of words and intrigues, machines of men, twisted, ripping the souls of children, and by the gods, the goddess of justice. If I could end her like Aethys, Margren burned her once. One can do so again.
Fair.
Woodica, she must answer to her own justice.
Justice or revenge, Durance?
Anyone with a shred of spirit seeks both justice and punishment. It burns in the heart of anyone who lives. All seek it. If the world does not balance, we all drown in the oceans. And the gods would not care. Margren, she must be redeemed. And punishing Woodica, that will serve.
Are we quite sure Margaret wasn't a willing accomplice, Durance? You just pointed out to me that she probably helped cover up the evidence.
Is this some final joke at my expense? To test my faith further? And why would you think that, Watcher?
Well, everybody else who made the Godhammer died, didn't they? That's why their symbols fade from your staff?
If all you have are questions, then I have enough of those. She is a bitch of a goddess, to be sure. But even a whore only goes so far in crossing those she serves.
Well, you left Ashfall without telling anybody about your departure?
You answer a question with a
That's
question.
unfortunate.
Then why did I feel her disappointment at Halgot? Why were we shamed?
Well, did she try to kill you there?
Kill me? She is a goddess. I still drink from her burning breasts, Watcher. If she wished me dead, she could trace me to my source and kill me.
Well, in the dream of the Godhammer, your spirit looked blurred, indistinct in the light, as if it had been sheared from you. If you had been damaged as I saw there, then maybe she doesn't see you as you once were. Durance stares at you, his expression frozen, but he's silent, listening. Durance turns from you for a moment. His face twists in thought, conflicting emotions running across his features. Finally, he turns to you, his face steady.
There's no proof, Watcher. I was a fool to think you could help me see any farther than I could.
If you don't trust me, trust your staff. Admit it, the other Godhammer builders are dead. Durance turns to the staff, and for a moment you see his eyes burning, taking in the edges of the wood, the symbols inlaid there, the 11 faded circles.
They died in the blast, yes. The other 11. I was the only one to walk away. I thought we had wronged our goddess. That this was my trial, and if I could prove myself worthy of her! I should have known better. There is only one God of redemption, and I saw him ended.
Yeah. As he studies the staff, you feel a wave of heat, a terrible energy rolling forth from it in waves, so much so it feels as if the Godhammer itself is alive in his hands. And past it you hear a cry like a child being born, and your eyes feel the flash of white, then 100 imagined shades of purple and white, streaming and circling into the howling of a storm, and beneath it, the grinding of ancient machines of stone, rock, and metal, grinding and turning until all around you feels as if it's burning, sinking into the shadows of the earth. Beneath the ground, the only place where a spirit might find refuge. How am I supposed to interpret that? Energy. Shades. Oh, I think, he's reliving the Godhammer explosion. That's what's happening there. Well, I guess he's not taking it well. When your vision clears, you see Durance, his hands clutching the staff, and his eyes are bright, burning red. Atop the staff, the flame burns cleanly, brightly. As his gaze burns, he rips his gaze away and howls, a bellowing, horrid howl like a wounded animal. Sweat pours down his brow. We can make this right, Durance.
To think I served her. I followed her. Now I shall serve no one. Woodica's lies must be answered. And now it seems I must take fire in war from a goddess's false claim as well. I still take from her strength as I did, for as long as it lasts. For I shall not cast her aside yet, until I have drained her dry and had my fill, just as she intended for me. For I have learned one of the lessons of the faithful. The faithful may wound a goddess greater than any enemy. A purification is coming, and this fire shall consume them both.
Well, I think I just shattered our priest's faith in his goddess. That's, yeah, that's dealt with. Let's see here. Yep. Persuaded him of that whole business. He did kill one god already, so, you know. Wonder if he knows how to build another bomb. That could be problematic, actually. Oh well. Kill some more gods, then. I really gotta talk to Hiravias, too. I've literally not talked to him in ages.
As a peripatetic loner, I'm not privy to the latest news, but the Hollowborn Children is a tale that has reached even my reclusive ears. Or, rather, ear.
What do the Druids think of this plight?
It's been a long time since I've spoken with my circle. They'd probably tell you what I'd tell you. This plight was most certainly the consequence of someone trespassing into Engwithan places, not meant for folk. I mean, what else other than the gods could inflict punishment of such impressive scale?
Sure. What do you think about the Hollowborn, then?
Any time a life is separated from its soul, I wanted to pretend it was just a rumor when I first heard of it. In my youth, I'd cursed the dear Woodens for being ignorant to spoilers that breed out of control. But soulless babies? What heartless gods would inflict that kind of tragedy? No parent or child deserves to be a part of that horror.
Yeah, it's not great.
Need something?
Tell me about yourself.
My second favorite subject.
Runs his fingers through his scalp, preening his fur. What's his favorite subject?
What would you like to know?
Well, we really never talked to him, huh? How'd you come to be trained as a druid? Hiravias thumbs his half-shredded ear and thinks to himself for several seconds. It wasn't, entirely by choice, not at the start at least. My ambition was to be a hunter. I merely arrived by a different trail. As a child, an Unumfath came to visit. An honored guest is occasion for a grand chase, but I was left out, instructed instead to be cupbearer to the old wise one while the rest were on hunt. I'm sure you can guess what happens. Wise Unumfath gives dumb child a shred of attention. We ended up talking until the hunters returned. He gave me, his hands dart across his body, scouring the pockets and folds of his tunic, this. He presents a rusted iron medallion fashioned in the likeness of a hound's head, a common icon among the frontiersmen, explorers, and other seekers faithful to Gallowayne. The Unumfath insisted I be trained, and none in my village would defy him. Now, he smiles broadly, I don't need a bow to hunt. Fair enough. So where are you from?
My mother's crotch. You?
Okay. What a coincidence. I also came from your mother's crotch.
For the record, only I'm allowed to insult my mother. But I respect your dedication to banter, so I'll let it slide. This time. I grew up in Glonfoth, specifically in and around Thane Bog. My people, the Fisher Crane tribe, are migrant stewards of the land. I've walked the whole of Glonfoth many times.
That's nice. So, if you're a Gallowayne follower, why is there a symbol of whale on your eye patch? Whale is known as the eyeless face, so his symbol seemed a good fit for my eye patch. Yeah, that's fair. He absent-mindedly runs his finger along the strap of the patch band. Whale iconography is rather popular in my home tribe, but it seems he's not as widely venerated here in the Deerwood. I remember thinking that if I consecrated my eye to he who obfuscates and reveals, then maybe with enough devotion Whale would make use of the old ruined thing. He pulls on the eye patch strap and lets it go with a loud snap. So if you think you see me staring at rumps and cleavage, it's really just the will of Whale controlling my gaze, honest. Okay, so how are you doing with Gallowayne then? I was raised as a disciple of the Seeker God. He's the champion of the hunt, be it the simple struggle for sustenance or the scholarly pursuit of knowledge. In my older years I've found, he cuts himself off, shakes his head, and starts again, life has shown me I'm more suited to the ways of Whale. The furious hunt for knowledge often outpaces the journey to real understanding. Okay, well, what sort of animals can you turn into? He takes a half step backwards as you ask the question. All sorts of things, he says quietly, with a long, uncomfortable gaze. Hiravias stares at you blankly, arms folded. Let's talk about something else. I have 3 different stats I can ask about this, but any man with your scars has a story to tell. I'm gonna ask you later if you don't tell me now.
Yes, I suppose you should know.
Grips his forehead and turns his face away from you.
I struggled with spirit shifting, the final rite of passage in my druidic training. I prayed to Gallowayne for insight and, in the style of seekers of old, went to the forest, alone, to ask for guidance.
Okay.
Then I got my answer. An answer at least. In the form of a vibrantly colored Stelgar that pounced from the underbrush and made a salient demonstration of its capacity to eat things 1/15th its size.
Well, you're alive, so how'd you do it?
Fended off. I ripped off its arm and sent it running.
He strikes the face of an offended man, but smiles too wide to hide his amusement.
As the beast was lopping off bits of my handsomeness, I remember trying to fight back, swinging with arms too short to reach. I felt I had the energy for one last swipe at the beast's nose, and when I lashed out with a punch, my arm felt twice as massive, and my fingers sprouted talons. In a rush of power, I shifted into a mirror of my assailant. Apparently, he couldn't pick on someone his own size. By the battle's end, his severed arm was in my maw. The beast limped away in defeat.
Very impressive, Hiravias. I thought learning to spirit shift would win me some respect. Maybe trap myself in a deer lass with a lust for little men. Alas, I might have been better off staying a novice. When I wandered back to my village, they saw me my wounds and asked what happened. I showed them. The name they called my form was the Autumn Stelgar, and his mouth opens, but he hesitates for a long moment before choosing his words. They were not impressed. The Rio of my circle believed the Autumn Stelgar to be a heinous abomination. It said that if it eats you, your soul is invariably lost. As this was my first and most intuitive form, they deemed me a carrier of its evil. Ah, primitive superstition, huh? Even though I never so much as threatened my kin, I was ruled unfit and cast out. Hiravias sighs, scratching his scarred face. I don't know what message Gallowayne was trying to send. The only lesson I learned was the Seeker God will punish you for seeking. You didn't choose your spirit-shifting form? No, he says with a huff. It chose me, or so I imagine. I always assumed I'd shift into a stoat. Seems more true to my nature. He points to the embossed pattern of whale on his eye patch. As the Obscured teaches, when the answer is inscrutable, one must be content to ponder the question. Did they at least recognize you as a druid? His brow furrows. No, but I know I passed an initiation rite 5 times more perilous than any of those kin betrayers that insisted I was a failure. Can you learn to spirit shift into something else less terrifying? Already can, sometimes do, he says with a beaming smile that quickly returns to a scowl. But the druids of my circle assign great meaning to one's first form. I'll always be unclean to them. So are you actually a soul cannibal? Hiravias stares at you with a frown before covering his face in his hands. No, he mutters. At least I think not. I've never actually sat down and eaten an entire person to find out. I'm not that curious to find out. Alright, thanks for sharing.
Well, if you don't know me, you can't trust me. And if you can't trust me, odds are low you'll leap in front of a flying arrow to save my life.
True.
I've been meaning to visit the druids of Twin Elms to see if they know more about my spirit shift. If our journey takes us there, perhaps they can enlighten me with more information about the Autumn Stelgar. But for now, maybe we can talk about something less depressing?
Sure. You know anything else about Galawain and Whale? Well, I'm not sure what more there is to say on the subject, unless you're itching for a religious debate. Tell me about Whale. I came to know Whale in earnest in the first year of my exile. I asked myself why Galawain would punish me for asking questions. What just and fair god would punish me for doing as he asks? Questioning why I'd been mauled just drove me mad. At the height of my worry, I would have dreams where I only saw with my injured eye. My healthy eye became blind in my dreams. He lifts up the eye patch to gently itch at the socket. We catch a quick glimpse of a puckered and scarred abscess under the whale-embroidered patch. So one afternoon, I stitched a stylized eye motif on the patch. I like to think of it as my self-initiation rite into the Brotherhood of Whale. Whale is not an instructive or overbearing deity. He does not freely dispense wisdom. He expects all of us to question and explore with our own minds. Whale reminds me that curiosity is being receptive to any and all truths, not hunting for any one answer. Does it help make sense of the Stelgar attack? His face turns flushed and he laughs nervously. In a fashion, yes. Praying to the eyeless face means letting go of the fear of not knowing, the fear of not having any answers. Some days it can be challenging to embrace uncertainty, but at least Whale does not demand celibacy. And neither does Galawain, I'm pretty sure. Alright. That's what I got.
At once.
We talked to him. We've talked to Durance. Actually, we don't need Durance in the party anymore. Well, let's keep him for a little while. Him and Hiravias is gonna be a terrible combination, huh? I mean, not balance-wise. I don't know about balance-wise, but just, personality-wise. Let's see. So, Hiravias we gotta take to Twin Elms. Fine. Hopefully I didn't kill the only druid that knows no more about this. Northfield. That's up in the north. That's Lake Endgame. Okay, we should probably just hand this breastplate back to this guy, because it's been ages. This is also around Twin Elms. That's around Twin Elms. Oh, okay. Alright, so we should visit, Defiance Bay. Give the one guy his breastplate, and get the Sword of the Endless Paths forged. And then we will do any bounties that are, like, west of Twin Elms. And then we'll go to Twin Elms and clear up some more quests over there. Hopefully I'm not, like, banned from this hall now. I might be. They don't like me much, but I don't think it's, like, open more in the streets either, so should be fine. There's Osric back here. You survived it, eh? Got too close to the fires myself. A bright burn mark on his right arm oozes pus. Still, it's a better emblem than anything those knights wear. This your armor? Osric wavers a moment in disbelief. He looks at you, then back at the breastplate. He reaches for it slowly, as if expecting it to disappear before he can touch it. How did you manage this? Well, you were right about the affidavit, but unfortunately Penhelm forced me into a fight. Shame it ended like that, but he's the lying weasel who started this. You did all I asked, and you're owed much. He withdraws a leather coin purse from his pocket and hands it to you. Stop by Sonil's shop on the other side of the hall. She sells some of the best gear in the city, and I'll see that she opens her inventory to you. What is this armor to you, anyway? Osric looks around, trying to appear casual. Oh, it's nothing, really, just a keepsake. Tries to look you in the eye, but when he does, he appears to reconsider. Sighs. It commemorates the Order of Magran, highest order of valor, awarded to the dead, never the living. Us dear Woodens, real dear Woodens, we don't have nobility or birthrights, unless you're some copper fucker from a deer. All we got's the honor we bring to our family name. The Order of Magran is... they don't give it out too much. Not often you see a member of the dozens whose revolutionary ties are as good as he says they are. So this, he pauses, considering the weathered metal, a pale image of its former self but still catching light, is something to live up to. A business? No, down here. Where's the... I'm guessing this shop is not really anywhere near. Like, I could have finished this so long ago. This shop is probably not really got anything great, but let's see. Show me your wares. She's got some exceptional stuff. Hat of the deceased yak. Belonged to a prince of a small kingdom that was absorbed into the Adirian Empire after throwing a fabulous party to welcome them. Okay then. Bracers which offer might and constitution. That's not bad. I'm gonna pick those up. Resolve and constitution on that ring too. That's not bad either. Someone's a beagle. That is not that helpful. Huh. Sorry, I didn't read this whole story aloud. This hunter caught a boar, promised to reward the hunter but ran off. It's never seen again. And then a turkey which did the same. And then a fox which left behind the length of its legs as a promise for its freedom and turned into a beagle as a result. And then had to come back and be a dog, which kind of sucks for the fox, but you know. I don't know that I have that much use for it. Well, I'll grab it. We have a lot of money. Anyway, that's done. Now we gotta head over to the, I forget what the central area is called, but we gotta head to Crucible Keep. First fires? Yeah, I think that's it. Head to Crucible Keep and get the blacksmith there to forge us the Sword of the Endless Paths, because I checked. Apparently he's the only one that can do it. He's pretty much the only blacksmith who... Well, there's a couple of blacksmith shops around, but apparently they can't handle it. Not looking drastically more burned than usual around this area. I would assume the keep was, you know, being a keep is probably fine. Not that it's impossible to burn a keep. A lot more wood than you'd think in these things, but It was defended, I would assume. Where you at, Dunstan? Yeah, it's gotta be this guy. Hey, Dunstan. Bottom of his beard is singed away and he smells of burning hair. Found all the pieces of this ancient sword. Could you fix it? Aye, and 'twould be a privilege to. Not often you get to lay eyes on such fine craftsmanship. He runs a calloused finger along the edge of one of the shards. This blade will take some time, but I guarantee it'll be worth the wait. Do I have to? Okay, I can just... Okay, good. It's annoying when games make you literally just, like, fast forward time by a day or something. He beams. Finest work I've ever done, if I may say so. It's only a shame I can't take all the credit for it. Something else in your mind? Okay. Where's the sword? How good is it? I should probably put these pets in the, I don't know where I keep acquiring all these. Sword. So, oh, there it is. Where did I get this sword? This is quite nice, actually. Exceptional. And DR bypass. Unfortunately, only one of us uses a one-handed sword, and it's Ader, and I prefer this one that is draining, but, Blade. 22 to 31, it's superb, and 20% attack speed, and 10 accuracy to an ally attacking the same target, and 5 DR bypass, so it's DR reduction, superb, speed, and marking. An Adirn explorer once heard a legend of an Angwithan tomb filled with the Dead Empire's greatest treasures. Dead set on making a name and fortune for himself, he had one of the finest smiths in the Deerwood craft a blade worthy of his task. He descended into a place known as the Endless Paths of Adnua, and was never heard from again. His possessions were scattered by the strange evils that dwelled within, and his priceless blade was shattered. It's a really nice blade. I mean, the only one who probably might use it is Palagina, so I'll toss it in there. Just in case. It's a stealth-based armor. Nobody is going to wear that, probably. What's she using now? Oh, yeah. Okay. Oh, Hiravias leveled up again. More shock damage? Sure. Okay, so that's those dealt with. I think those are the only things we needed to come back to this place for. Yeah, Twin Elms, White March, White March. Just somewhere. That's like really high level I've been given to understand. Twin Elms, White March. So that means we go to Twin Elms or we clear out some of these bounties. Bottomere Bridge, Northfield, Anslog's Compass, Woodend Plains. Okay, this is not my optimal party, so these might be too hard unless I go change parties, but we'll see. Let's head to... Where's Bottomere Bridge? Oh, it's right here, yeah. I'm going to be on the wrong side of the bridge if I go here. Thanks for watching, adventurers. New parts will be up every other day, or you can watch live on Twitch. If you did enjoy the video, consider leaving a like or subscribing. Have a nice day, adventurers. This is Sea Lord Janda, signing off.